Damn, man, if the streets ain't talking about you, man. If I can't spin a block and find out about you, man, the people ain't about you, man.
It's your boy A Butta, and I'm back with another episode of that Streets First podcast. And as you can see, I done went remote on them, y'all. I'm not even in the studio right now, baby. I'm in the world legendary Gauchos Gym. And if you know anything about Gauchos Gym, you gotta know about the person that I'm getting ready to interview, baby. Hey, man, I want y'all to know, man, I got the legendary in the building. Bronx, New York, man. Stand up, man. I got Bronx legend Rod Strickland. He's in the building with your boy A Butta, man. What's good, Rod?
Man, I'm good,
Chillin'?
man. Yeah, pleasure to be here, man.
Rod, first thing first, man, I'm gonna get right into this. Like, just jump right out the door, right into this. This Truman thing. I just heard you was killing so much in Truman. Can you give the listeners that little bit of history what Truman was like and what it was like playing back then in high school here in New York?
Yeah, well, first, Truman High School, I started out in Rice High School.
Say, hey, talk to him.
Yeah.
We had a couple of them on the show.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't know I
Shout out
went
to Rice, wow.
But I went there for my freshman year, and actually back in the day, you could only play, when you was 9th grade, you played freshman, 10th grade, JV, and then you moved up to varsity 11th grade year. So I was playing freshman ball, I was playing well, and then the next year, I started out playing JV. So I went there for the second year, but a brief period of time.
Gotcha.
So I got the JV, you know, I'm probably getting 30 a game. So I wanted that next challenge. I wanted to be on varsity.
Needed that.
Yeah, so I talked to them. I tried to get up to varsity. They said, first they said no, then they said, okay, we'll let you move up. I went there for one practice, and I tried to go at everybody. One day. Right?
Hey, yo, give me some of them names that was around, man. Give me some of them names. People like to hear their names, because you was playing against some people back then.
I don't want to be wrong, but I want to say Moe Hicks was still there at the time. Moe Hicks was cold.
Wow, we're looking for you, Mo. Butta looking for you, Mo.
Yeah, and then my man CC was there. I can't all the names.
Okay.
But I went up there for that one day, played, and then the next day they said, man, we can't just move you up just because you're going to leave. You know what I'm saying?
They knew you was about to be up out of here.
Right, so I left.
Got up out of here.
And then I went to Truman High School, and actually I went to Truman High School. One of my close friends, Tyrone Joy, we grew up, Mitchell Bullets, Gauchos. He was on Truman. I went to watch him play, and I just saw the excitement, the way they played, you know, the cheerleaders.
Shout out to Watson.
Yeah. So I was like, man, I want to come with you, man. I want to go.
Just out of curiosity, what was that like growing up in Mitchell? Because I know you grew up in Mitchell. You know, I know you played over there. I know, was that kind of like first where you met the legendary Dave McCollins at?
Yeah. Mitchell Projects. Dave McCollins walked in the gym with that limp. You know that limp?
You know that walk and that limp with Dave.
He carried his bag over his shoulder, walked with that limp, came in with the utmost confidence, and he just came in and he started, you know, it's funny because I found out some things listening to your show.
Wow, that's dope.
You know, I found out why he did it. Like when he talked about a couple of the guys around the neighborhood told him that they wanted him to
wanted to bring him in.
I never knew that.
Wow.
I didn't know that. So he came in though, and right away, man, he just put it down, man. He's like the best thing for me, basketball. You know, he's my foundation.
What was that like playing for Dave, you know? You know, he spoke about that. What was that like from your perspective?
No, it was great, man, because Dave, you know, he was that old school mentor. You know, it's different back then. You know, when you had coaches, you know, they really cared about you as a person.
Facts.
And then they also, I hate to go, but nowadays it's probably more about, you know, the business of it, the sneaker brands and the players and maneuvering.
It's starting to get different now.
Yes, when back then it was just about, I want to get these kids better and I want to be better. I want to prove to everybody I can coach. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
So it was a lot different. So having Dave there and having him teach us basketball the right way, you know, I was able to play 17 years from that foundation.
Woo. Okay.
Because Dave taught us how to dribble with right hand, dribble with the left hand, lay up with the left, lay up with the right, make the right pass.
Fundamentals.
You know, so, and he also taught us how to look out for each other.
Okay.
You know, how to be a team.
Which is key, because they lost that. I don't know where that went today, but go ahead.
Anything happen, y'all got each other back. We go to these other cities, if a fight or something happen, you know, y'all better all, you know, Dave was so cold with it. We would get into arguments.
Streets first.
We would get into arguments, and Dave, we had a little room in Mitchell Gym, so we could be practicing, and somebody get into it. All right, stop practice, y'all two, come on. Take you in a room, and you had to fight it out.
Word.
Then you come out and you have understanding.
That's real talk right there.
No, for real. It was. I tell people that, they look at me like I'm crazy, but he did that. But he taught us how to stick with each other and play the right way, you know, fight for each other, you know, so it was, you know, I had a great foundation as far as basketball.
Now, being that you was coming from Gauchos and doing the traveling and everything, what gave you the decision to kind of like leave New York to go to college and for DePaul? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I have to start with, I went to Oak Hill because I left New York first to go.
You know, excuse me before, I was about to say that. Like, I wanted to talk about, I wanted to give Oak Hill its own situation, but I just wanted to let, we're going to get back to Oak Hill.
Yeah, we'll talk about DePaul. I was a big DePaul fan. You know, back then, we didn't have TV like this. We didn't have all these stations.
Wow.
So you had ABC, NBC, CBS. But all the games came on NBC and CBS.
Okay.
And we didn't have ESPN and all that. You know what I'm saying? I'm dating myself. But we didn't have all these stations.
You're remembering all of this. I can listen, man.
So I wanted to be on TV, and DePaul was on TV all the time. And then I loved the way they played. They got up and down. And then they had this, they had a thing for New York and New Jersey point guard. And they had Kenny Patterson.
Kenny Patterson.
Who's from Queens.
Wow. I keep hearing about that name, man.
Yeah. He's from Queens, New York. And I was a big fan. So, you know, I just wanted to be, for some reason, I gravitated to Kenny Patterson as well as the other greats around here. And so I watched him play, and I just wanted to be a part of DePaul, man.
Now, just out of curiosity, being from New York, who were some of the tops at the time that you were like matching up with coming out of high school and getting ready to go into college and that transition? Who were some of the players that you was like meeting out in the AAU and these different places?
DePaul was only on TV-wise. They was on NBC and CBS maybe 5-7 times a year. Then there was a station called WGN, which was nationwide.
I heard of that station.
It was nationwide.
That shit's still out.
So I was on TV every night. You know, every time we played, I was on TV.
Wow.
So that's why I gravitated to DePaul. You know, but as far as the players here in the city, there's so many, man. And I don't know if everybody would know all the names, but I came up with Boo Harvey.
Okay.
Man, Ed Damender was a little ahead of me. But it was so many, man. Lamar Thornton, you know, Mike Thornton. My man I saw yesterday, Jim Ice.
I seen you post up a picture with
man, I ain't seen Jim Ice in so long. Like that picture right there, man, that was Terrence Brodnick. Like that picture was history, man.
Rice history days, boy.
Like,
Rice, that's one thing I know about.
General,
I just know in general, a lot with New York City that guys be having history is like, no matter where guys go, it seemed like when you connect, it was like you right back at that same moment again, that same vibe, that same feeling again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, New York. I mean, this is it. This is everything. You know, I got my competitiveness.
What made you leave, Rod, to go to Oak Hill, though? What made you leave?
Well, I really ain't had no choice. I went to Truman High School. We won the state championship. And the
ran through everybody. I heard about that story. Ran through everybody.
Then the next year, Steve Lapis, who was my head coach,
shout out
he
to
went
Steve
to Villanova.
Lapis.
And they wound up winning the championship. But he went to Villanova, and I think he thought I was going with him, but I gave him a little Barry Sanders.
Hit him with the little Barry
Sanders. Yeah, hit him with the Barry Sanders. But so once he left, they brought in, actually this is the funny thing, they brought in, when Lap left, they brought in the head coach of Rice that wouldn't let me move up. I can't even think of his name.
What type of that? What is they trying to do?
Yeah, so they brought him in. So now I'm at Truman and I got to answer to this guy. So I never forget I'm getting recruited. I got all these letters and I kept trying to get my mother to let me go to this place called Oak Hill Academy that Steve Lapis found for me.
Wow.
He's the one who reached out to Oak Hill.
Okay.
So my mother wasn't having it. No, you stay where you at. So then I was up all night.
Shout out to Mom Deuce for making sure
trying
she
to
looking
convince
over
her.
her son, baby.
Yeah, trying to convince her. So I finally convinced her, let's go to the school at Truman, let's
Okay.
talk to the coach, and let's go from there. Well, he helped me because when we got there, he had a little arrogance about him.
Okay.
He kind of told my mother basically how he was going to handle the recruitment and everything. So I think it turned her off. So when we left there, like, do what you got to do. So then I went to Oak Hill Academy.
Okay. Now, what was that experience like? Like, how did you feel playing and being out there? Like, leaving New York and now going to Virginia, which is totally different from the city.
Yeah.
You being a city kid, especially around back at that time, what was that like?
It was different, man, because, you know,
They got towns out there called Lynchville and all. I'm just my grandmother lived in Danville, Virginia. I know what's up.
Yeah, the closest thing was like Roanoke, Virginia or something.
Wow, okay.
And that was like 2 hours away, I think. But it was different. You know, I'm coming from Mitchell Projects. You know, now I'm going to a school that's all white. You know, the only black kids are the basketball team.
Talk to us, Rod.
You know what
Streets
I mean?
first. Talk to us.
So, you know, I mean, I was sitting in there with a dorm parent who I thought was borderline kind of, you know, not liking us. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to think with you.
Yeah, I don't know what to think, but I'm feeling some kind of way. So it was different, you know. So it was an adjustment period. Plus, there was nothing around it. You know, farm animals. You walk down the street, it was farm animals. It wasn't. I mean, it was isolated. So it was an adjustment. But I had the basketball team. I had some guys from Queens. So I adjusted. You know, there was plenty of times where I tried to come home. You know, I would call moms, call pops. I'm getting out of here. Sick of this. You know.
You ready to go?
Yeah, but I got through it.
Now, you know me, man. You was first team All-American.
Yeah.
You know, I do my homework, man. Four straight NCAA appearances. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You killed out there in DePaul.
Yeah.
What's that transition now from college, getting ready to go into the NBA? Because, hey, Rod, you know, rest in peace, man. My daddy spoke very highly of you. You know what I mean? So for me to be sitting here and to be able to interview a person that I know my dad was telling me, watch on TV, this guy's from New York. Just saying, for me doing my homework, it seemed like you always came off the bench, but was always treated like a star. That's mine, or for me doing my homework. Just overall watching, like, towards, just saying towards the ending of your career,
At the end there.
it just seemed like, even though they were bringing you off the bench, it just seemed like they always treated you with the utmost respect as a starter. What did it take for you to build that as you first came into the NBA? Like, that's where I really want to go. Like, what was that like?
Man, I think people respected me between the lines because I played the right way.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
That's first and foremost.
Yeah, and I think anytime, first of all, I was a point guard who could score, but I had no problem with giving the ball up. So everybody wants to play with you. And I learned that from years ago, from the beginning of time when you tried to play with the older guys and you had to stay on the court and you had to figure out how to stay on the court. And to do that, you had to give guys the ball, make them happy to win games. So I always was that type of player.
We so live in here and we so remote, they was getting ready to run up on you and give you the fly like, yo, Rod, yo.
I saw that.
That's what the interviews is like. But one of my first things that I really wanted to ask you that I know a lot of the fans and people speak about that wanted to know, they want to know why you left New York. They want to know why Rod left us. What was that like for you, you know, to be able to say, you know, I got to think about my career, my future, my family, my life, and what I want to do for Rod and his legacy. Talk to us about that.
Well, to be honest, if I could bring it all back, man, I would have loved to stay here in New York.
Wow.
There's nothing like success in New York.
You hear him, New York. He's telling you from his heart, baby.
Yeah, I don't care, like, whatever city you go to, there's nothing like being that guy in New York City.
Facts.
But at the time, like, I got drafted by the Knicks. I wasn't expecting that. You know what I mean?
That wasn't your thought, bro. I was about to say that.
He was just the rookie of the year. So when I came out in the draft, I was projected to go from 7 to 15, somewhere there.
Okay.
So the Seattle Supersonics was 15. My agent, you know, told me that if I got to 15, I wasn't going past 15.
Wow.
You know, so I'm sitting there, draft day, and you know, the Bulls had the 11th pick. I wanted to go to the Bulls.
Wanted to go to
I had
Chicago.
a feeling I wasn't, but I
He was
wanted.
just out there with DePaul.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. Okay.
Yeah. So the 15th pick comes and they don't pick me. So now I'm looking at this board and I'm like, I don't fit in there. I don't fit in there. So my college coach had called me early in the day and told me that I was dropping in the draft. Told me Boston and the Lakers called them. They had the last 2 picks.
Hold up.
Yeah, but see, I like the way your eyes
You
is
saw
going.
my eyes is going. I'm
Didn't
about to
do
say
that at the time. Looking back now,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Looking back now, you know, my eyes is big. But then it was like, no, I don't want to drop. I want to go 24, 25.
I see it now.
So when the Knicks picked at 19, I just knew that ain't me. Like, they're not picking me. And then, I don't know if you may not, but
Break it down to
Mark
me.
Jackson was at the draft.
Okay.
His guy, Shelton Jones, from Amityville, Long Island. I don't know if you know him.
I heard this name.
Went to St. John's University with Mark. Well, that was his guy. Well, they were in the stands holding hands. What? The whole New York arena wanted Shelton Jones. Now, I'm from New York. I done made my name. But they wanted Shelton Jones. So when they called my name, the crowd booed.
It wasn't the expectation that you thought it would be from New York.
Garden booed me.
Wow.
So I'm like a little confused. But I'm confused too because I don't want to be picked by them neither.
just yo.
So it's real confusing.
We not really too upset,
right.
but
So this supposed to be the best day, of my life, and it was.
what was it like playing next to Mark?
It was great, man. Me and Mark, we were just 2 competitive guys, so we couldn't coexist in the situation that they had us in. Because Mark was the guy, he was just Rookie of the Year. But I came out thinking I want to have my own team too. And we both from New York. You got the pressure of that. Then you got your families, your friends. The day I got
Especially
drafted.
in New York, man.
Well, the day I got drafted, me and Mark had to play like 2 days later at City College.
Uh-oh.
So, the hype is real. So right after I get drafted, we in the City College battling against each other.
Going right at each other.
And we did that in practice. But one thing I tell people about Mark Jackson, great competitor, great leader. That was his biggest asset. Great competitor, great leader, and he knew how to conduct himself in that environment.
What was it like when you left and you went, if I'm not mistaken, it was Portland?
San Antonio
after that.
Yeah.
Who was the coach for them again at that time?
At that time, it was Larry Brown.
Now, from what I'm hearing, a lot of people talk very highly of Larry Brown and the ethics and skills that he got when it comes to basketball. But then he's a very challenging person if you are a person that has a strong character. I like to ask questions like that because I like to, get a feel for people.
Yeah.
What was it like with Larry Brown? Because from what I heard a lot, Smush Parker told me he played, and he praised a lot good about Larry Brown. So I'd just be liking to hear from all ages, all brackets. What was that like?
Well, Larry Brown's a great dude, great person, like big time.
Wow.
In between the lines, he wants what he wants. And he can be fickle, you know what I mean? Because he sees it in a certain way, and that's how he wants it. So he's real hard on point guard. So he can love you one day and hate you the next day. You know what I mean? That's just, I always say, like, when you look at the greats, everybody got some BS in it. Everybody. Like, you can all the way Pat Riley, probably go back to Red Auerbach. I'm sure you'll hear some things. That's just great people who are connected differently. You know what I mean? When you're the best of the best, that sometimes you're different from the next person.
Facts.
So you see things and you want different things that the normal person can't see. You know what I mean? So he had ways about him, but I gotta always respect Larry Brown because every place he went, he changed the culture and they won. So how can I sit there, or anybody for that matter, so anybody you sit with, don't ever let them talk like you just can't.
I got you.
I mean, now there's some ways about him that you may not like, because me and Larry Brown, we got into it. We had our battles. But at the end of the day, man, he's a great coach. He's a great person. He's challenging in between the lines. But greatness is greatness.
See, when I ask you about people like that, the reason why I ask about a great coach like that, because I see what you're doing yourself with the coaching. So I'm just curious, did you take pieces from the people that you was around and growing up with under and kind of like add that on to what you're doing at, what's that college again?
I was at USF.
You was at USF. Now, where we at now?
Right now, I'm looking at some other things. I'm a solo artist right now.
We moving. But what was that experience like to know that, playing in the NBA and now being able to come back and coach kids and try to put them on to some of the knowledge and things that you have understanding the game? What was that experience like?
It's a great experience. I love, I've been in basketball all my life as a player. And the second part of my life, I've been a coach. And to me, that's like the give back. And, now that you can't play no more, the greatest way to be on that court is to coach.
That's right. Hear this, y'all. Listen to him, the give back.
Yeah, if you really, I'm a basketball guy, And if that's what you are, I can't play no more, so I might as well help. So it's always gratifying watching kids grow. Because, you get guys, and you know this, they start out a certain way. They might not want to listen to you. They may not like how you talk to them or what you say, because sometimes truth is uncomfortable.
Very.
And so, but then you watch them grow, and then you watch them take it from you. Maturity. And then you watch their game grow, and, it's nothing like it.
Let me throw one out you at, let's real quick just see what you say, because I know you're a basketball guy, Rod. Give me one of your favorite matchups when you was playing.
Damn, it's so many, but
just throw one at us. Get a
Tim Hardaway.
What made you feel like Tim was tough, good to play against, very competitive? What did you see in Tim?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Right away, he just had this grit and confidence and cocky about him. But I was a post-up point guard as well. I post guards up. And so Tim comes in the league, and I'm posting guards up, so I'm taking him down there. He's shorter than me. I'm, bring that thing in. But then he turns around, and he posts me up. And Tim is 6 feet, I'm 6'3". So I'm like, what you doing? And then he spin and bop, hit it. And I'm like, wow, he's a problem. Because that's he basically told me, I'm going to do just what you think you're going to do to me, I'm going to do it to you. And that was his rookie year.
Wow.
And so right there to me, he's a problem. He's a problem. And then he just had a way about him, man. He had a cocky way about him from the door.
Just, Rod, it's beautiful when I hear these stories. I was just talking to my man Kareem, and I was proud about hearing this about him. Kareem Reed, he went back to school and he got his degree from Arkansas. You did the same. What was that like? I like to talk about good things like that, because I don't think the next generation understand that it's key to continue to try to help yourself know what you may not know.
Yeah, and it's growth.
There you go.
It's growth. Okay. I could have never imagined even having a degree, and that's not a good thing. But, I was one of those guys, I was more into basketball in the school.
Talk to him.
And, being 50 years old now, I get it, and I wish I would have done things differently, but when you don't know, you don't know. So, to be able to do that and to get it done, just the accomplishment of getting it done, and then for me to grow, I had to do it. I wanted to be an assistant coach in college. Well, you had to have a degree in most places.
Wow.
So now if I want to be a head coach, you got to have a degree. Wow. So everything is growth, and you can't never stay the same and be stagnant. And, it's accomplishment, man. It's as a kid, this basketball thing, I played 17 years, so I was
17,
blessed.
right?
But, the real time is 4 years, 5 years. Some may go to 10. So the period of time you playing basketball is not a lot. And no matter what you want to say about money or whatever, you're going to have to have something to do, And then you want to stay relevant. And then you have kids, you want them to see you working, because that's your example to them. So, when I first stopped playing in the NBA, I'll never forget, man, I was lost. Because my days, no matter what, if I hung out, if I'm out and about, that next day, no matter whether it's in the morning or at night, I'm getting in the gym.
Facts.
So my day was around hoop. So once it was over, I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I didn't feel like going in the gym and faking it.
I get what you're saying.
So it was hard. So I had to adjust to that. And that's why I said, man, I called one of my partners and I said, man, I need a job. This is hard. Because I was going to go overseas.
Life after basketball.
I was going to go overseas.
Okay.
And I backed out. I was supposed to go play with Sabonis' team. I want to say it's in Lithuania. I backed out the same day.
What?
Like they was waiting on me with a parade and everything. I woke up, told my kids, because I had told my kids I was going to retire. So they was looking forward to me being home. So then I decided, no, I'm going to go do this. And they wasn't feeling it. They was crying. When it was like a week before me leaving, you know, you leaving, you know. So when that day came and they woke me up and say goodbye, they going to school, couldn't do it. And I backed out the day I was supposed to get on the plane.
The very day you was going to leave. Sorry, Lithuania, he had to go.
Yeah.
He couldn't do it. Now, being that we was talking about stuff like that, you know, with parenting and Kyrie, you know, that's your godson. That boy is tough, man. Hey, Rob, what is it like, you know, what was that like? You know, now seeing your godson and watching him and everything that he's doing, what was that like? You know, if you don't mind giving Streets First a little bit of insight of growing up with him and putting him on to certain things. And bro, you're a teacher, so I know you were schooling him. You could see it all in this game, the toughness. No fear. It's in the family. Hey, listen, Rod, it's in the blood.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say this because I always get this conversation and I hate sometimes because like his father is the guy.
No, I know that.
Yeah. So
you make sure you let him know. I want my own one-on-one with him. You heard? We got to talking. I see him in the 36 and 0, 40 and 0. I told him I got to talk. Yo.
And you see that competitive.
Oh my God, man.
That competitiveness you talking about Kyrie, that's his pop.
Wow.
Because he's going, man, he wouldn't speak to us. Like we like this. But we had games back in the day. Before the game, he don't want to speak to us. We win, lose, draw. He walking home by himself. Like he wouldn't even deal with us.
Word.
You know what I mean? So he's a real competitive person.
Wow.
But I got a chance. A lot of Kyrie's young years, I was hooping. So I was away and everything.
Okay.
But I always got the feedback and everything.
I got you.
And I'm gonna tell you this when I knew Kyrie could play, and I hadn't seen him play yet. He was in the 9th grade, and my brother Byron called me, and he said, "Yo,
shout out to B."
He said, Kyrie's a pro." Now, you know my brother, he don't give out compliments.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Not him. No way. Not him.
Yeah, so
not right away.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
So when he said that, I was like, wow, you know? And so my first look at Kyrie, he was a junior. He was at LeBron's camp.
Oh, okay.
And I remember watching him. I was at Kentucky, and we watching him.
Not to cut you off, I'm mentioning camps. You and him running one together.
Yeah, well, we have our tournament.
That's okay. Y'all got a tournament up there. All right, we're going to get back. We're going to talk about that too. But yeah.
So I watched him, and when I watched him, I was like, wow, like this is the real deal. You know, I'm seeing, you know, you don't see too many of this.
You don't see too much. Left hand, right hand.
So right away,
everybody.
to other people, they might, you know, that might look like, okay, but I'm looking at that like, I don't see that
different type of toughness.
Different type. The way he going in there, finishing, making his move through people. And I was just like, wow.
How does that feel looking at that now, though? Like knowing that you watching that, does it remind you a little bit of his dad, exactly what you seen his dad growing up, killing, playing like that with that killer instinct?
Yeah, so, and I try to tell people, like, all of this, show right, finish left, like his pops did that.
Wow.
You know, I did that. But his pops did that. His pops had all the layup finishes, too. The difference between me and Dedrick was that Dedrick was a scorer. Because, you know, Kyrie's a scorer. Dedrick was a scorer. I could score, but I was a point guard. So when I watch Kyrie, you know, everybody say, oh man, he look like you, but when I see him, I see some of me too. But I see his pops because I played with him. I know what so when people try to bring it all to me, I try to deflect it because that's really, and they don't really understand it. So sometimes it's uncomfortable because, you know what I mean? Because that's, you know, that's my family.
That's their family, but that's his
dad.
And
so I don't want too much here because this ain't what it is there.
You know where that comes from, right?
Yeah, so for me, but I'm like the proud.
I get it.
Watching this because I'm like, you know, I feel like that's from our tree. You know what I'm saying? Because we were raised like, you know, basketball-wise, Dave McCollins, that all comes from there.
Straight there.
So when I watch Kyrie, I'm so proud, and not only of him, but of Dedrick. Because I've seen a single parent. We used to call him Mr. Mom, messing with him. You know what I mean? So I'm proud of Dedrick as well.
That's more valuable as well, too.
I see that. You know, everybody see Kyrie, and that's special. Because actually, I told you we were recruiting Kyrie at Kentucky. So I remember Kyrie coming up to Kentucky, and I watched him the way he handled himself. You know, with administration. You know, he sat down with the president. and spoke to him, yes sir, no sir, like look in the eyes and everything. And I was proud of that for Kyrie, but Dedrick as well. Because I'm like, wow, you know how many kids you don't see shake somebody's hand and look them straight in the eye? Or when you talking to a kid, you know, they all the way over here.
They in a whole nother world. They're not really.
My pops always told me you look somebody straight in the eye
when he talks.
You know what I mean? So when I'm watching this, you know, I'm old school. So I'm like, wow, man, I'm impressed. And so I watch Kyrie not only as a basketball player, he's been in situations in that league, because that league ain't easy, personalities and everything, and he's handling himself with like super class. So I look back at me, and I'm like, I couldn't handle it like that. You know what I mean?
You can see that.
I would have said something, or I would have did something I wasn't supposed to do.
Just out of curiosity, Ron, you watched him, like when you say he might have played, what, 12, 11 games, and dude, got drafted first round, first pick, right? Seventh year? He just played. This is seventh or eighth year.
Something like that.
I think it's close to his seventh year.
Something like that.
He's been to the NBA championship 3 times already. He's won 1. When you see that, and it's really, we're just now getting to the prime of this. Knowing that you understand the NBA and how players play, and you know, it's great to watch Golden State and them. How do you see him handling like the things that he's dealing with today as in being in Cleveland as a player, and as smart as you was just breaking down? How you think he sees all that?
Man, well, for me, watching him, it's all growth. You know what I mean? Because he first came into the league, and it was his team. They were struggling. They didn't win. He didn't have a great team. And now you get this big LeBron James coming in. So now everything is kind of shifted, but you still a guy. And, you know, there's personalities and nothing specific, but it's like being with Magic and MJ. You know, everybody got, going back to the greatness. Everybody got their
That's right, everybody.
And so you got to deal with that. And then you got to figure out your niche. And I think Kyrie stays strong through the whole time. Right. Like, I'm not taking second seat to anybody. But I'm acknowledge what you are and who you are.
Which is key.
Have to.
In order to grow.
But I'm that dude, so let's figure this out together. And I think that made LeBron have to figure it out somewhat together. You know, because, you know, I always say people treat you the way you let them.
You know, hey, Ron, come on, he let them golden keys out. Hey, Ron.
Yeah, so I think, you know, he had to maneuver, he had to grow, he had to mature. I think LeBron being there helped him get on that stage. And you always want to be on that stage. That's how now he shows, you know, Kyrie doing his thing, and let's say you first round, you lose, or you don't make it to the playoffs, then people don't acknowledge it.
That's true.
But now he's on that stage, man, you can't help but acknowledge it.
The world's seeing everything.
Right.
The world's seeing it on a whole different level now.
I just think he's handled it well. Now I think when the torch is passed and it's his time, he's going to be great. With that next group of kids or the people under him, he's going to be great.
What do you think about, you know, being that we talking about him and, you know, y'all two have a tournament together located in the Bronx. Back in junior high school, 62, if I'm not mistaken, right?
IS
162, right? Yeah. What is that like, Rod, to know that you guys are really trying to make sure that you touch the city kids and the inner city programs? How do you see helping New York like that? Like there's a problem with community centers and, you know, people at least having the awareness that that's certain things that we grew up on and that these kids kind of like need that's leaving now.
Right.
How do you like, because I know you came up with this stuff, so how do you still look at that moving forward, knowing that there's a problem right now with that?
Well, first I'll say this. This is my 20th anniversary of my tournament.
Congrats on that.
And my nonprofit, Young Athletes Inc. And Lamar Dyson, who coached me at the Sundowns back in the day, he runs it.
Wow.
So it's been good, man, because we've had an opportunity to help some kids. Actually, 20 years ago, we started out, the city took away funding from junior high school. So we started out, we did a junior high school tournament.
Okay.
And I funded it all myself.
Salute.
Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, and Brooklyn.
Wow.
Lamar got coaches together, had team meetings, and we did our own tournament. And that's how this whole thing started. And then he's built it out. Now he gets funding, things are happening. But, we have teenage pregnancy stuff. We have softball team. So doing a lot of things. But the funny thing about it, and me and Lamar talk about this all the time, I'm not the biggest outgoing person. Like, I'm not the in-your-face guy. So I kind of stunted the growth of the nonprofit because I'm like, for me, it's hard to ask.
Okay.
And it's hard. So I never did that. And, we've done some great things, but nobody really knew about it.
I see what you're
So
saying.
as I retired and got a little more comfortable with it, now we're trying to do more. We just had Michelle Robbins. She was at the game Saturday.
Shout out to her.
Yeah, the head of the NBA Players Association.
That's the head of the...
Yeah, she's the one who negotiated the contract.
Okay, shout out to Michelle
strong
Robbins.
black woman.
Strong black woman in the building.
So she came through, she loved it. She was like, wow, this is my pet project right now. So, hopefully we'll see her involved, see some of the NBA involved in it. And just want to keep growing, man, and trying to figure out what to do. We don't have all the answers, don't always know, but just try to figure it out. See whatever we can do to do something positive.
That's key, man. Hey, before we get towards like the end of the show, you know what I wanted to ask you, Rod? That podcast thing you got going on. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, strictly speaking.
Strictly speaking.
The podcast, definitely got to get you on there.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I decided to do it. I did a podcast with Kenny Anderson.
What?
And I don't know if he brought it out yet.
Shout out to Kenny A, man. Hey, yo, man. Shout out, he was on this dope, man. Shout out to Kenny A.
So he was in Tampa. He asked me to do his podcast, and we sat down like this, and we talked, and it was comfortable.
Wow.
And we talked about some nostalgic stuff and back in the day, and I kind of enjoyed it. So I called my guy Gary Howard, he was the first black sports editor in print magazine.
Wow.
He did the Milwaukee Journal. He was a black editor, first one back in the day. He's big time in the media.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I told him I wanted to do it. 2 weeks later, we were booking people and doing the show. And I enjoyed it, man. And I just had an opportunity like you doing now to sit down with former athletes, some media types, and just let them tell their story, like from the beginning to the end. I want to know, what was your upbringing like? What motivated you? Who were the people that motivated you? And when you just let people speak, they tell you the story. It ain't like you ain't even gotta force it out of them. And it's I'm not into the shock jock stuff.
Gotcha.
All the BS. I spoke to Steph Marbury and had a great interview. And we talked about none of the controversial stuff, but he brought some things up because he was comfortable.
On his own, where he felt his story.
Yeah, because it's his story. I don't need to try to shock.
None of that.
So I enjoy doing it, and I'm gonna continue to do it. Try to keep building it.
Wow.
Definitely.
One guy I got for you, my man, Tiny Archibald. What was that like growing up in the neighborhood? Hearing about Tiny, watching Tiny, because. Little do you know, I went to IS 275, and he was my gym coach.
Wow, I didn't know that.
You know what I'm saying? And now that I'm older, I didn't know that I kind of probably got motivated to play basketball because of him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you having an idea of him and being around at the time and him being from New York, what was that like?
I mean, it was great because we had a chance to walk in the gym, in Mitchell Gym, walk from our building, and see Tiny Archibald in the gym working out. Or we had all these courts. We had all these courts in the gym like this, and there was one court where Tiny had this little rim. And it was basically like the Tiny Archibald court. And he would go practice on this little teeny rim. Now back then, we didn't know nothing about little tiny, the little rim that you got to shoot the ball perfectly to get it in.
That's Tiny.
And we didn't know that back then, so we watched him do that. We would get on that court and try to shoot in that rim. We watched him play 5-on-5, and Tiny was tough. Tiny had a mean streak in him too. So we watched Tiny. Tiny would lay you out on a screen. Tiny was tough and competitive. So we got a chance, and then he's there in front of us. We sit on the Mitchell Gym step. you might buy some pizza, but we're in the presence of greatness.
I was about to say
that.
that.
And that's inspiration.
Facts.
And anytime, and it ain't about giving nobody anything, you know, sneakers, shoes, tickets. It's about you knowing somebody that, like somebody close to you that did it.
Facts.
Like that's inspiration.
I get what
so
you're
if I can be in your presence and just hear you and hear your story, that's inspiration.
You see how it was, baby. I actually called your Rod. Can you call your boy? Can you call a radio station for your boy, man? My man Rod said, yo, hey, don't worry about that, baby. We gonna have to talk. But give us your social media, man. Tell the people how to follow you on social media. You know, I know you're very active, you know, on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm new to this though.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I said I know you're active on Twitter. Yeah. You're very new to Instagram and that stuff. Don't worry.
I'm trying to figure out my Instagram name, but I'm Rod_Strickland. On Twitter it's Rod_Strickland.
Okay.
On Instagram, I think it's Rod_Strickland1.
Okay. Now your websites. You got any websites for us?
Well, the podcast is on the shadowleague.com.
Shadowleague.com.
Strictly Speaking is on the shadowleague.com.
Check that out, y'all. Strictly Speaking podcast.
Yes, sir.
And how can the kids register or come and try to get in the tournament? They gotta play on They gotta be on somebody's team.
You gotta be
nice. You heard it's a summer league, kids. You gotta be nice. You gotta be on somebody's team. But you can come through though. Come check it out. You know what I'm saying? Hey, y'all. I got Rod Strickland in the building, baby. New York, we right here. We went live. We at Gauchos. He's the great one. He's here. He came through for your boy.
Yes, sir.
Subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on iTunes. You can follow us on Instagram at Streets First Podcast. You can follow us on Facebook at Streets First Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Streets First Podcast. Just know that I'm gonna keep doing different things, man. Different parks, different places. Stay tuned, y'all. Your boy is moving, you heard? Streets first. The Bulls outside. It's your boy A Butta. It's a wrap.
Yeah, this one's for the streets first. Stripes like a referee shirt. This one's for the streets first. Tell mama this the rebirth. I need church. I talk dirty. Put my hands and my feet work. Teamwork. Put in pain, but gotta bring it to the streets first though. Hardships to the starship. Legend off the Rucker Park bench. You a marksman with your game A. Got me putting butter in the margin. He putting others on the market. For them press A, walked in. Before he walked in, he did the research. Put that working on the streets first. My dreams birthed up, awakening. I hit the course, who you shaking with? They taking shots, that's commercial. Then I'm coming off the break with it. With your make a vid, just don't make a mess. Test, ain't no gas, what's your favorite gas?